I had just turned 19 when I was accepted to the Bolshoi Theater. It was in January, and one day, while practicing on stage, I was approached by Marina Semenova, who walked up briskly and said, "Boy, where are you from?" I replied that I just graduated from high school. She closed with a, "Well, if you want to dance well, come to my class." This exchange took place in a small kiddie corner of the stage, and one of our dancers, Nina Spiranskaya, one of our dancers, overheard Marina Semenova's proposal to me and observed, "If you're not a complete idiot, you'll accept." The first of Marina Semenova's lessons that I attended took place on stage. I was a boy with a good physique for ballet. I could lift my legs rather high, especially when I was young. And of course, when it came to the adagio, I raised my leg up to my ear and held it there tight. Marina Semenova then walked over, came up close, looked at me attentively, then turned to the girls. Seeing that most of their legs were lower than mine, called out, "Girls, don't you see what's going on? You've just been outdone." Marina Semenova observed me for a long time. It was as if the material she was working with, in her estimation, was unusual. Actually, I think I was generally of interest to Marina Semenova as somewhat of an unusual character. Marina Semenova had a unique capability. For example, she could see that her student had abilities as a lyrical dancer, but for ballets such as Don Quixote and Raimonda, which required controlled temperament and a cool head, the student wasn't naturally suitable. And then, as if in defiance of this nature, Marina Semenova would rehearse Don Quixote with this ballerina. In doing so, she was able to find an approach to the individuality of that student, in this way addressing the craft of ballet by paying homage to professionalism and successfully developing the role, so that in spite of everything, the result turned out to be positively amazing. I remember one such episode with our ballerina Galina Stepanenko, who was beginning to rehearse Giselle in La Sylphide with Marina Semenova. We even made fun of her as students, which didn't help given Galina's temperament. But when we came and saw the resulting show, we were stunned. It was brilliant. But it was a stroke of genius only for as long as Marina Semenova was working with Galina Stepanenko. She had only to stop rehearsing with the dancer and the magic disappeared. Without Marina Semenova, the arrangement couldn't exist. She had this gift. It constantly served to amaze. The effect of her personal presence made all the difference. There was one funny story. I was dancing the Pas de Deux Florine and Bluebird in the ballet Sleeping Beauty with Stepanenko. Galia was very much against the whole idea. She didn't want to dance with me because she thought I was too young and inexperienced. And no young aspiring dancer is yet fully confident when lifting or holding a prima ballerina. Also, as far as appearances were concerned, we weren't really an ideally matched pair. Galina didn't like it at all. She, the leading ballerina, and some boy. And she told Marina Semenova, "I'm not going to dance with Tsiskaridze." To that Marina responded, "Well, if he goes, then I go too." Galia repeated, "I will not." And then Marina Semenova took me by the hand and walked away. She didn't come back to rehearsal with Galia Stepanenko for a very, very long time. Galia was trying to adjust and change their relationship. At that, Marina Semenova said, "It'll be like I said, or it won't happen at all." At that point, Galia had to surrender. "Okay, let Tsiskaridze come." I came to class. We had one joint rehearsal before the show. I did everything, so to say, under Galia Stepanenko. I wasn't allowed to raise my legs higher than Galia's. I stood behind her during adagio so that I couldn't be seen, and so forth. Marina Semenova designed the whole dance so that Galia reigned on the stage during our duets, and I wasn't visible. We practiced all of our exits except for the mazurka, but there was a sequence of jumps, pas de basque, which Stepanenko and I did simultaneously, side by side. And when, during the show, I performed these pas de basque at full capacity, at the peak of my youth and strength, my legs went well above my head. The play ended, and Marina Semenova came and openly scolded me in front of Galia Stepanenko. It was terrible. She told me what she thought of my performance, that I was a boor, a cad, how insolent I was, that I had dared to try and outshine the ballerina. It was such a scolding. Finally, Galia Stepanenko went off into her dressing room. Marina Semenova followed her for a few steps and then said something to her, took a step back towards me, lowered her voice so Galia Stepanenko couldn't hear, and said, "Well done." And off she went. That was Marina Semenova's essence in a nutshell. Once in the classroom, the telephone rang. One of the dancers picked it up and called Inna Petrova over to the phone. As Inna went over to the machine, Marina Semenova said to her, "Inna, if it's Grigorovich and he suggests dancing Giselle, refuse." Ina picked up the phone, there's a conversation. We hear only Ina saying, yes, yes, no, thank you. Finally she hung up. Marina Timofeyevna asked, well? Yes, it was Grigorovich. He asked me to dance Giselle. What did you do? I refused, answered Petrova dutifully. Fool, yelled Marina Semenova. We, her students, had to keep her abreast of all developments, informed and agree on our plans with her, and in some she had to know of and be in the know of everything. My relationship with Marina Semenova didn't develop in the same manner as with her other students. At first, I went to her class. It was a women's class, that is, there were only female dancers. But she was very aware of the fact that I was faster than everyone else when it came to remembering her teachings and memorizing the combinations of movements that she showed us in the classroom. She had a very tricky character. She liked to catch out her students unawares, to put them in awkward situations. She could show a dance combination gesturing with her arms while sitting on a chair that was so vague that to decipher her gestured hints was almost impossible. Marina Semenova would then immediately choose a victim and demand, "Show us all what I've just shown you." Because of this habit, Marina Semenova always had a translator in class. Usually it fell to Nina Spiranskaya. She herself would then demonstrate the combination that Marina Semenova had indicated. Marina Semenova soon noticed that I also understood her vague gestures quite well, and I could perform the combinations that she just barely indicated with her hands. "Oh," said Marina Semenova, happily nodding at me, "the boy can think." One time we went on tour to Japan. The ballet troupe was transported by bus, but Marina Semenova was taken by car. It so happened that Marina was often late in the morning sessions, but we never started without her. We knew that she was certain to come, and it was better to wait patiently, thus avoiding any possibility of a nuclear exchange with her. So one time we were all standing together waiting, and it was so tedious that I decided to entertain the girls. I was excited being among these girls as they were the leading ballerinas of the theater. On that tour we danced La Bayadera a lot. So, to entertain the girls, I began to dance all the female variations of this ballet. The girls were tickled, laughing, and no one noticed that Marina Semenova had entered. The entrance to this particular hall was such that you had to come up from below. That is, she could see us, but we couldn't see her. And Marina Semenova stood there for a long time, watching me dance. The girls were laughing, singing to me. And when my show ended, Marina emerged from her hiding place, eyeing me critically, said, "How do you know these variations?" I was surprised. "How? I watch them danced under my nose every day. How could I not know them?" "Yeah," Marina laughed, "so you can do them." I've been talking about Semenova and calling it Marina, but it's not familiarity. It's on a totally different level. When we were alone together, we were very frank and open with each other. Marina was a very complicated person, difficult to understand. Sometimes we quarreled, but in front of us, she kicked 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 me out of class. Once it was a joke. I was in the classroom next to ballerina Nina Semizorova, and we were chatting with each other and giggling, noises which are absolutely forbidden in Marina's classroom. Usually, in class, if a buzzing fly dared to fly by, you could clearly hear it. In any event, Marina Semenova was already in a bad mood that day. She turned to me angrily and yelled, "Tsiskaridze, get out of my class. Don't ever come back." She kicked me out demonstratively, yelling. I was actually really happy that she kicked me out, because I was already quite tired, so I ran out of the hall as fast as I could. The next day, I came down with the flu. And since I didn't have any performances scheduled in the immediate future, I thought happily that I'd just stay home and rest. My lessons with Marina Semenova at the Bolshoi began at 12 o'clock. Sometime around 12:45, my phone rang. It was Marina Semenova. "Nick, where are you?" "I'm lying at home. I got sick." "You're lying." "Marina Timofeyevna, I really did get sick. My temperature, I'm coming over to see." "No, I have the flu, a high temperature." Marina Semenova had a large family, a daughter, 2 grandsons, their wives, and a great-grandson. So every time she went abroad, she had to get everyone a gift. Basically, she was a mother hen to all of them. So she had to buy gifts in bulk. She also had to have one of her students accompany her as she went around shopping. And there came a time when the girls who had always been doing this for her realized that, aha, here was a boy, that is me, who they could pass Marina off to and who could lug her packages. So that's what happened. And from then on, we became very good friends, because in addition to going going to the shops, in all of the countries where the Bolshoi Theater toured, we visited all manner of museums, exhibitions, theaters, zoos. In other words, we went everywhere, even to the market. Let's go to the market, she'd say, for example, or where they sell vegetables, or to see the fish market in Japan. Let's get up early in the morning just to see. She was very inquisitive. She liked the fact that I read a lot, and I could talk to her about anything. When she realized that the word Thackeray to me was a writer's name and not the name of a medication, she was very moved, very impressed. Our relationship was very close, down to earth, and everyone knew it. And when Galina Ulanova wanted to develop the role of Narcissus with me, choreographed by Kasyan Galiazovsky, she realized that she'd have to first ask Marina Semenova, my main teacher, for permission to work with me. Ulanova called, but I didn't know about it at the time. And then after class, Marina Semenova called me over and said she called me yesterday, this white moth, asking me for permission to work with you. So you go. She's a smart woman. Listen to what she tells you. And then every 2 days she pestered me. Well, what's new? She didn't even mention Ulanova's name. It wasn't necessary. We understood each other intuitively. We're on the same wavelength. I understood Marina's humor, her sarcasm, and muttered something about how we were doing this and that, and then, intoned Marina Semenova, scrunching her face in disapproval. Well, well, well. And then on a trip when I had to dance Narcissus, Ulanova didn't go, but Marina Semenova went. She said, well, now we'll see. I rehearsed on stage, I danced, then I went up to Marina Semenova, who was sitting in the audience. What do you say, Marina? To which she immediately blurted out, she, meaning Ulanova, is such a prude, and you did it just like her. And then, softening a bit, but dance, even so, you're doing it well. After Marina Semenova passed away, her family gave me the fan she had used when dancing as the Queen of the Ball in the opera Ivan Susanin. This was the role which she finished her career at the Bolshoi Theater. All in all, Marina was a woman who did not keep anything. The fact that this fan survived is a miracle. It was lying on a box on her desk, and I guess no one ever really looked to see what was inside. When the family opened it, they were amazed that the fan was still there. Then they gave it to me. For me, this is a real relic of Marina Semenova. There are very few relics like this. For example, I've kept her notes on scraps of paper, which she slipped under my door during the tour, like gone to the store, or going to sleep, don't disturb, or not coming to breakfast. Our rooms in the hotels were always next to each other, and she'd sit in her room and wait to see if I'd call or not. One day I asked Marina Timofeevna to write me something in my memory book. She frowned. Clearly she didn't like that sort of thing. Well, I've got to have something to remember you by, I pleaded. She seemed nervous and grabbed the binder, quickly scribbled on a page, and then quickly shoved the book back in my hands. And I, having a short attention span, looked briefly at what she'd written. In memory, Semenova. Well, I thought, how hard is it to write something in a memory book? That's pretty bad. But I brought it home and put it on the shelf somewhere, and it lay there for a long time. Then one day, quite by chance, I opened this book. I don't remember what exactly it was I was looking for, but I saw written there in Marina's hand, I love Tsiskaridze.